Hey everybody, can you hear me? Great. So my family's from Chile, and I've been following since I've been probably the age of many of you, the rise of the green wave in Argentina that spread through Latin America. And it's been very inspiring, and nothing more beautiful than see it finally arrive here. And I wanted to just share a little bit of the story of how that happened and why it's significant and why we need it. In Argentina, the story always begins with a military dictatorship supported and funded by the United States. In 1976, there was a military dictatorship that led to the disappearances and killings of 30,000 people. And those who rose up to resist that dictatorship were the mothers of the disappeared. And those mothers, in 1978, began to wear a white kerchief around their head that had the names of their children and the date that they were disappeared. And they began to march once a week, every day, for years. Still today, those who are still living still do that. So that kerchief was seen as a symbol of resistance, and one that has motivated a lot of women in Latin America to take up similar symbolage. But at the same time, that became an image that Argentine feminists took up in 2003. And instead of a white kerchief, they decided to use a green one. And this was at the Encuentro de Mujeres, or the Women's Encounter or meeting in 2003, that began in 1986, soon after the end of the dictatorship. In 2003, it was a pro-choice Catholic group that actually handed out the green kerchief. It had nothing written on it. Some had written, for free abortion, but that was about it. But in 2005, at also the Encuentro de Mujeres, because they have a yearly conference on October every year, the Committee for Abortion Rights decided to create a symbol. And that symbol, you can see here, this is the pañuelo from Argentina. In the middle is the image of the mothers of la Plaza de Mayo, of the mothers that disappeared. And that was at the center of their symbol. And around it, it says the campaign for national, for the free abortion, and a bunch of other slogans. From then on, it took many years before the green kerchief reached other places. It was taken up a little bit in Uruguay, a little bit in Chile, but not so much. But things exploded a few years ago across Latin America. It began in 2015 when the Ni Una Menos, not one woman less, is the campaign for femicide, exploded in Argentina that year. That slogan, Ni Una Menos, was actually taken from a poem by a Mexican feminist in the 1990s who was campaigning against the disappearances of women in Juarez. She was killed in 2011. So when that campaign took that slogan, it was part of a memory of her. And Ni Una Menos spread all over. In 2018 in Chile, there was a feminist uprising, and it began in the college students occupying universities, and then it spread all over the country. That same year, Chilean feminists decided on their own symbol. They actually had a contest, and feminist artists proposed their own image, and it was voted on. And that's our image in Chile. It's a combined image of our old feminist movement from the 1930s, that was an anti-fascist feminist movement, and also an image of the 2018 uprising combined together. Since then, many of you have heard that a lot of Latin American countries have won the right to abortion. They won it in different ways. But I think one thing that has been very fundamental in the way they've won it in Latin America is that it's seen as a social right. It's not a private matter. It's something that involves everybody in society, and they fought for it. They fought for it in the public space, and the green bandana was a way to make it public. A lot of feminists in Latin America also wrap it around as they walk around on their everyday, so people can see the green. They can see it, and they wear it to their homes, they debate it with their family, they debate it in their classrooms, they debate it everywhere, in their workplaces. Trade unions have taken up the green bandana. When we have the feminist strike on March 8th every year, we've asked unions, even unions are mostly men, to take it up. and they have. And it's been part of like the beauty of what I've seen, but it also makes me think about how much we need that here in the United States. And if I can give you 3 things that really define what has made the Latin American feminist movement what it is, I think first is that we always center the fight for our own liberation. Even if we ask institutional politics to support us or to improve laws or whatever it may be, fundamentally, our struggle is that we see ourselves as the ones, very, very similar to the beginning of the sort of chant in the beginning, that we liberate ourselves. And I've noticed in the feminist movement, for example, in the US, a few years back when there was, the struggle in many campuses against sexual assault, they were asking in the institution of the university to help or to solve it. Latin American feminists, I've seen them wage that same battle, but they don't ask the institution to solve the problem. They solve it themselves, and they bring the proposals of what they want to the institution and say, you do this, or we will continue to strike. That is a very different philosophy. I think the other thing that I think that is important to think that feminism is something that we fight for. And it has to be the type of feminism that we want. We have had debates about white feminism in the United States, and it's true, the legacy of US feminism is really problematic because it's not included questions like class and race and the way the Latin American feminists have. But we have to fight for that. We can't let them have that space. We don't want Hillary Clinton type of feminism where we have to propose what we want. And I think Latin American feminists have done that, and has been very inspiring to see how they force governments to respond to them. They force institutions to respond to them because they feel like they're in control of what they want and the kind of world they want to see. And lastly, my biggest also the third recommendation, we need better slogans and chants and songs. Nothing more beautiful than to hear the kind of drumming and the sense of sorority and the happiness of struggle that you see when Latin American feminists are in the streets. It's as much about being serious about the struggle as it is about building the type of world we want, and also saying like we have to develop slogans that represent our program, what we're demanding, and also show that we can build something beautiful. And I really hope to be part of all this with y'all and be able to give this little bit of history. Thank you.